the Efrain coffee that you received is processed here at his facility, the farm right up there. And you can clearly see the difference between what a natural process is and what a wash process is. He does both. The coffee you are receiving in your calendar today is a natural process, which means that you keep the cherry or the meat of the cherry on the bean itself and do the drying process from there. You still have a selection process, of course, of the cherry. You then have a floating selection where you float the coffees on water and the lighter beans will rise to the top and you discard those. And after that you have a cherry rest, which means a fermentation where the cherry is just resting for about 18 hours before it's put into the first drying phase for about 2 days, which is the enclosed drying in the house, where the temperature is a little lower, it's a little bit more even, which means you don't start a heavy fermentation from the beginning, and you allow the coffees to kind of dry out a little bit at a more stable temperature before you move it up to the higher level, which is just underneath the roof where the temperature is a little higher. He regulates it so it doesn't go above 35, but it's still a high temperature, and it will stay there for between 15 to 20 days, whereafter he will test the coffees for moisture content, and he actually tested himself, which is very interesting, and it needs to be between 10 to 11%, around that range. Another interesting thing that he does is he turns his coffees a lot, which is really helpful to get a more even drying. You could imagine, like, if you put a fruit in your fruit bowl and you just leave it there, it rots from the bottom usually. So he keeps turning it to make sure there's an even distribution of the drying, and he does this every 2 hours for all the drying days, which is very interesting and creates a very even and clean natural, which is what you can hopefully taste in your coffees today.
Hola, Coffee Collective. Mi nombre es Efrain Carguayoyo, Salvador. Estoy acá en mi finca llamada parcela Cerro Azul. Tengo acá las variedades Geisha, Caturra y Borbón, donde hago los procesos natural y lavado. Y los naturales, espero que lo disfruten y se sientan felices consumiendo mi café.